Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this. We've had a million nights just like this. So let's get down.
All right, welcome to today's edition of our Podcats special, Catching Up with Cats. We have a 2016 grad with us today, Mr. Kyler Stork. Welcome back to West.
Thank you. It's good to be back here.
2016. That's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, you're 9 graduating classes ago, I believe?
Yeah, I think 10-year reunion's coming up next summer.
Yeah, that's
kind of
good
crazy,
point.
for sure.
Yep, and you know, this is only the second time we've done this segment, and last time we did someone who graduated just about 4 years ago, and he also is the son of a teacher here, so I think more people familiar with the name Corey Walker just because he's been a lot more recent. So there's probably a lot of people who don't know who Kyler Stork is. So let's start there. Who is Kyler Stork? And I think maybe if you could start by telling us a little bit about what Kyler Stork was like at Normal West High School.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's a long time ago, 2012 to 2016. But I would say a student that was full of energy for sure back then. Still kind of am now. But yeah, I just try to bring my energy to whatever the class was or whatever the activity was. I love to be involved here at Normal West, basketball and baseball, FCA as well. And then on the student side, I wasn't too bad either. I think I was just slightly above a B average maybe. But definitely favorite department was the business department with Mr. Franz, Mr. Burgess.
Bribe him to say that.
Mr. Matthews and all that. It was great times back then. But yeah, I would just say a bright student overall who tried to just give his energy when all he could, for sure.
And so you played basketball and baseball. Mm-hmm. We'll talk about basketball probably throughout because that's kind of where you spent a lot of time and energy at since you graduated. What kind of baseball player were you like, and what positions did you play?
Yeah, I think baseball-wise, I was more of a role player. Obviously, basketball was what I was better at, but my favorite sport of all time is baseball. I love to watch it, love to play it. So yeah, I would say I was more of a role player. I backed up right field and I was backup first baseman. But some of my favorite memories were just on the baseball field for sure. Senior year, I think it was bottom of the 6th inning. I had a pinch hit triple, and then we tied the game versus Pekin. And then it was bottom of 7th because we tied the game. There was 2 outs, nobody on. I think Nate Beal hit a double. We were down 6-5, and then I had a triple to hit him in. And then Andrew Curdy's suicide squeezed me in, and we walked off the game. So that was awesome. A fun memory from senior year for sure.
It's so cool how we can remember those types of moments. Like, I don't remember what I had for dinner like yesterday, and those things just stick in our minds. Coach Hawkins was coaching at the time, and I think this might be his last
I did not
year.
hear that.
He's retiring. I don't know if he's gonna give up the baseball thing or not.
I hope not.
He's towards the end of his teaching career. So
okay.
Yeah, and I didn't remember that you had played baseball, so I'm glad you you mentioned that. So,
all right. So first question is, have you grown since high school? Because to me, you seem taller than I remember you being.
I think when I entered high school, I was like 5'10", like 98 pounds, and I think I left like 6'4", right under 200. So I almost grew about like 6 inches. But
Are you taller than that now?
Yeah.
I was going to say.
I think my last deployment, it was before I headed overseas. I was like 6'6", 205.
Yeah.
So I might have grew like inch and a half or so since
I was going to say, you
That's
definitely
nice.
seem taller than I remember you when you were here.
Yeah.
I'm just going to mention something. I have a son who's a sophomore here, and he would be right there, but he's like 6'1", and I hope he grows another, couple inches. So I don't know if can you make that happen? Do you have any secret recipe for?
A lot of people ask me too, because like my dad's only like 6'3", but I get a lot of the height from my mother's side of the family. Mm-hmm. My Uncle Mark and Uncle Marvin, they're like 6'5", 6'6". So whenever my mom asks me where we get the height from, because my brother's also 6'6".
Right.
So it was funny.
So you had Michaela.
Yeah.
Is your sister? She's slightly younger than you.
Yeah.
One of my all-time favorite students, great kid. And then your younger brother who went to Evans but did not.
Yeah, he went to U-High after Evans.
Did not go to West, so we won't talk about him at all. He's not doesn't
the
get
traitor.
any mention.
Nah, I'm just kidding.
Well, talk us through what you did right after high school. So where did you go? I know you went to college, but talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so obviously graduated 2016, and then I went down to Greenville University. It's in Greenville, Illinois. It's about like 30 minutes east of St. Louis, but on the Illinois side. So I went there to study sports management and play basketball. I did my first 2 years there, and then I carefully considered after the first 2 years whether I wanted to stay there or not. I was pretty well ahead academically. I think I had like 80 credits in 2 years, which is like insane because you only had to get 120. So I was pretty on par with that. So that was like one hesitant I had of leaving or transferring or staying. But I ended up transferring to Eureka College and adding another major, business administration. So I did my junior and senior year there. I lost 10 credits in the transfer, by the way.
Oh, really?
Because Greenville is like a Christian university, so there was like 3 or 4 Bible classes that wouldn't transfer.
Yeah.
So I lost those. That was tough to enter junior year at 70 instead of 60, but it worked out. I got 2 majors in business administration and sports management, so had great times at both places. So you hit the
transfer portal back then.
Yeah, the transfer portal before was the transfer portal, yeah. It's crazy what transfer portal is now.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Back then, it was kind of just...
We had Corey Walker in here last time, and he just transferred to Wisconsin.
Wisconsin, yeah, I saw that.
So
great player.
We talked a little bit about the portal.
Yeah. So you went to Eureka and graduated there, you said, with business management?
Yep.
Okay.
Basketball team there. Junior year won the first ever conference tournament that qualified us for March Madness at Division III. So that was pretty cool to be a part of history. I think Eureka has a national championship in 1994, but it was NAIA. So this was like the first time under Division III they had made the national tournament. So it was cool to be a part of history.
I used to go to Eureka college basketball camp back in the day as well. Dave Darnell.
Skip. Yeah. His name is still on that court.
Yeah. I don't know. He's probably not alive anymore, is he?
My senior year, he was at a few games.
Oh, was he?
So it's 5 years ago, but he seemed like he was in good condition, good health. So, yeah, he's a legend there for sure.
Yep, he is.
So what were your playing days like at Eureka?
They were fun. It was a high, fast-paced offense. I think we averaged like around, it was like middle 80s and low 90s throughout my junior and senior year. But the first school I went to, Greenville, that was severely offensive jump from Normal West. Because Normal West, we tried to just slow the game down when I was in high school and just tried to win a game like 45-40, which is okay. We won a lot of games, so it worked out good. But coming from our offense was very dynamic, a lot of screens and plays when we tried to score, but when we went to Greenville, it was as soon as you get across half court, the first pass, shoot the 3. So it was different, trying to learn a different style of basketball. But it worked out there too. I think my sophomore year there, we broke the NCAA all-time record for points in a game. We beat Grinnell's record. It was like 133.1, and we averaged like 133.9 or something. Wow. We were a little under-paced middle of January, and then we ended up scoring 200 points in one game.
What?
Yeah, against
And how many did you score?
It wasn't that much.
Okay.
But
you didn't score all of them?
No.
Okay.
They run in hockey-style shifts, so 5 in, 5 out every minute and press, and try to get as much steals as you can and shoot the most threes. So we had different goals each game where you try to out-turnover the opponent by 25, take 50 more threes than the other opponent, outread them by 25. So we had like 5 key goals that we had to check off every game. Usually if we hit like 3 or 4 out of the 5, it would be a W in the column. So it was cool to just see how different styles of basketball work compared to like high school to there.
It sounds like a lot of fun, to be honest.
And to be honest, it's even fun it's like kind of even more fun to play against because Greenville is in Eureka's conference. So when I transferred, I kind of had the inside edge on my new coach to tell him how to beat the system. That's what it's called, the system. But it's fun playing.
And did that work out?
Yeah, we beat them. Junior year was funny. We lost to them twice in the regular season, and in the conference tournament, we were the 3 seed, they were the 2 seed, and we beat them. And it was a kind of bittersweet moment. Like, transfer was worth it. We beat them, and then we went on to win the next game against the host on their home floor. So it was really, really neat. But as a center, or power forward center, it's really fun to play against the system because it's all layups and dunks. It's really neat. Senior year, on senior day we played Greenville. That was kind of funny also, but had 3 dunks, 14 points. It was neat.
Nice. And do you have any eligibility left for Normal West?
I wish.
I think we could use it.
Yeah, they're low on centers this year. It'd be
Yes.
nice. But if I shave the beard, I don't know. Maybe I'd look 5 years younger.
Sneaky in
But
there.
I don't know if I could pull it off as
I
18.
don't know. There's some
maybe.
older looking dudes out there on the basketball court, so I think you'd be fine.
Yeah.
All right. So after college was done, you continued, and you have been continuing on even now, as you can see this jersey. Can you tell us a little bit about where you've been the last year or two?
For sure.
And I guess also, you had your business management degree. What I guess ultimately helped you make that decision? So
Yeah. So 2020 is when I graduated college, and that was kind of the COVID year. And Illinois was kind of just like a question mark bubble at the time, like May 2020. That we didn't know like what was getting shut down necessarily, like what was going to be open. So I had always like in the back of my head it's been like a childhood dream to like play professional basketball, whether that be here or wherever. But kind of, I was a Division III, averaging like 6 points, 5 rebounds a game. So that doesn't really assist to pro level scoring and all that stuff and numbers and whatnot. But that summer, kind of just in the back of my head, I was like, if there's a chance, I mean, why not? If Illinois is kind of going to be shut down for a year or two, or nobody knew at that time. It was kind of just like panic mode. But a Eurobasket director kind of reached out to me. I think it was actually hilarious how it went down. I had just like assigned on to an insurance job, which I was going to do, kind of like runs in with business. And then my second day on the job, I got a message from the Eurobasket guy. It was like during my lunch break saying that they were going to run a camp that they usually do in Chicago. They were going to move it to Indianapolis, Indiana. And he had like 50 open spots. They're just going to run the camp. And I was like, kind of like pondered it. I was like, is this a sign from God or what is it? So I told him I would go. And ultimately went to that camp, which led to, I had a pretty well 3 days there, and he offered me to go to Armenia to play. That was the first country I played in for 1 year. During the COVID year, I played in the country of Armenia. And after that season, I went to play on in Portugal for the next 4 years, which I'm here now. So I played in 2 countries professionally, and it's been a really fun time over there for sure.
I'm sure.
So the end of last season was pretty strong.
Yes, no doubt. Most memorable year, most fun year, most best teammates I've ever met. Was definitely all combined into that last season. Last year, we won the national championship of the second division in Portugal, so got the team promoted to the first division this year. And we set
because it's like relegation there, right?
Yeah, it's neat how sports work in Europe, where you got to be fundamentally strong and like in your organization.
So
every
the
single
Bears
year.
would be playing high school
I
football.
think I'm a Chicago Bears fan myself. I think they might be at like Parkside Junior High level at this rate, but we'll see if Ben Johnson can fix them. I got all hope in the world in them.
Yeah.
But you're not there this year.
No, I was considering going back to play for them, but I'm 26 years old now, so I think it's finally time to enter the business field and do some work here in America. But I mean, those 5 years in Europe were incredible.
So I was
That's
gonna say,
awesome.
so did you get to travel a lot? I know obviously you got to live in Portugal and then Armenia, like you said. But did you also like in your free time get to travel throughout Europe and whatnot?
Yeah, I got to travel a lot, which is you don't really realize how big America is until you're not in it. So Europe is fairly small compared to what America is, and flights are pretty cheap. So on a weekend that we didn't have a game, I could just fly to Spain or fly. I mean, I think at the top of my head, I went to 11 European countries, and
Nice.
Portugal also has some islands off the coast. Cristiano Ronaldo, everybody knows him. He was born on one of those islands. We got to play a game on his island, which was cool. So I got to see like where he was born, his statue, and all that.
Wow.
But yeah, I've been to Italy, Austria, Germany, Luxembourg, Spain. Seen some pretty historic cities too, like Vienna, Austria, Barcelona, Spain, Madrid, Spain, Berlin, Germany. Like all those really cool cities you kind of learn about in high school and be like, oh, would be fun to go there one day. But
And
actually getting to
just
see
think,
it.
That's
you could have
awesome.
instead been doing insurance for those
Yeah.
last 5 years
Yeah.
if you would have said no to that camp. That's
Yep.
Definitely. It's
that's cool. That's fate.
definitely fate for sure, and just a story that couldn't be written any better.
So
for sure.
do you have a place? I'm unfortunately not very well traveled, but it's a goal of mine eventually. Do you have any recommendations over there, places that are must see, must
yeah.
visit?
I mean, I'm definitely a lover for Portugal for sure. I feel like it's kind of like Spain's little brother,
A
but
hidden gem.
it's definitely a hidden gem. I mean, any city in Portugal would treat you with love and respect, and there's just their culture there is just filled with love, and they don't I mean, they love everybody. The food is incredible there. I think they're like top 5 in the world in cuisine, so it's pretty good. But yeah, beautiful beaches, beautiful cities. Just like I think that the thing that stuck out to me most is just like the difference in architecture. So every city is like more retro, and like here in America, it's like more modern. We're like more tear down, rebuild, and they kind of just like to keep it the same and restructure it. So
well, that's part of the reason is because they built it right the first time. And,
definitely. So it's still standing today for sure.
Yeah, we haven't always done that as a country.
Yeah, and I like the cathedrals all around Europe too. So I've seen some pretty historic cathedrals in like Barcelona and Madrid, and some in Germany and Austria too. I mean, it's just amazing buildings.
Very cool.
Definitely.
That's awesome.
So going back to basketball, so like were the guys that you playing with, were a majority of them from Europe? Was it a mixture between guys from Europe and guys from the US?
Were they all like in their mid-20s, low to mid-20s?
Yeah, so that was something that stuck out to me. In my second year playing professionally, it would have been first year in Portugal. My starting point guard was 38 years old with 3 kids. And I was like, all right, this is different. And he averaged 8 assists a game, which was crazy. Right. So what's different about over there is, which we don't have here in America, which we totally could if we put the effort into it, is we only really have the NBA and G League. Whereas there, every city has like their own club. So they can play for their club as long as they want, as long as they're like in shape and good enough for the team, and obviously to get minutes on the court. You can play as long as you want. The oldest player I played against was 51. My oldest teammate that I played with was 44.
Wow.
So it's just a different of lifestyles really, where if they have like a club that they start playing with these clubs when they're like 7, 8 years old. And they go all the way up until U18 and then the senior team and play as long as they want. So, like, some guys could legit play together for, like, 20 years, which you really don't see that here at all, because after high school, the sad part is...
Unless you go to the Y.
Yeah, you can tear it up at your local Y for sure.
Go to 4 seasons. Or...
I might have to do that now that my playing days are done. But, yeah, some of them just, they can play, like, 20 years together. It's really, really neat, because here after high school, like, only 3 or 4% go on to play NCAA or NAIA. And then after that, if you're not in the NBA, which is like 99.99% everybody, your basketball days are finished.
Is that usually their full-time job, or do they work other jobs too? Or?
Yeah, usually they're working another job, which is also frustrating at the first glance when I was there, because practices are usually in the time frame of 9:30 to midnight, somewhere in there, because they're working. Portugal's a very laid-back country, so sometimes they don't really start their work day till like 9 or 10 a.m., whereas here in America you're starting at 7 or 8, and they're not really off work till 6 or 7.
Got it.
And they're eating dinner at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. That was another unique thing to get used to. And on like Saturday nights where we didn't have games, if we had team dinner, it'd be like an 8 o'clock reservation, so... The first dinner I'm there at 8 o'clock, because in America, if you're not there 15 minutes after, you lose your table.
If you're early, you're on time, you're late.
I was there for about 30, 45 minutes waiting for the first teammate to get there, because they kind of just roll in when they want, and Portuguese leisure, they get there when they want, and I love that. So they just in America, I think we're rush, and they're just no problem, chill. I love it.
Yeah.
So let's go back in time to your Normal West days and just ask you a couple questions. Favorite cafeteria food at Normal West?
Ooh, senior, I think they still have the senior lunchroom, but in that lunchroom you could get the Avanti's gondola. It was like similar to it. I got that like probably 3 or 4 times a week. The table that I sat at, me, Matt Ogden, Tanner Peterson, I think me and Matt probably got that 3 or 4 times a week for sure.
Favorite or most memorable teacher, or the teacher that maybe had the most impact on you? You can't say Mr. Burgess or Mr. Franz. You're not allowed to do that.
I'll just put a check mark on the business department, because honestly, those are my fun classes, no bias aside. But Miss Nichols, for sure. She helps out in the IMC, because I think it's still called the IMC. But she had an older son, Kyle Turpin. So he had played overseas, and that kind of what sparked it in my head maybe I could go do that one day, because I think my sophomore or junior year, I think he was in Georgia or Rome at the time playing overseas, and I was like, that would be so cool. So during like my lunch hours, sometimes I'd go eat lunch in her office, and they were like 8 hours ahead, so they'd be playing a game. She'd be like, oh, Kyle's playing. So I'd try to like get in and watch the game on the Facebook live stream or whatever his team had it on. And so that was really neat. But Miss Nichols definitely had a high impact on me in high school for sure. She let me store my stuff there, baseball bag, basketball bag, whatever it was. She's a trooper, man.
Shout out to Miss Nichols. She's one of our best employees here.
For sure. She's a goat.
Yes. Today's podcast sponsor is Select Screen Prints. Select Screen Prints has been in partnership with Normal West for over 25 years, providing quality Wildcat apparel at an affordable price. Choose Select Screen Prints for all of your custom t-shirt, sweatshirt, and apparel needs. They now offer digital printing, which allows for fast turnaround and excellent quality at prices that are less expensive than most online apparel companies. Select Screen Prints is the choice in Bloomington Normal area and beyond. Check them out for your next apparel order.
Do you have another favorite? Because I got one.
Another favorite?
That you're going to ask him?
No, go ahead.
Okay, up on the board here. This is what I'd like to start asking our...
Great questions.
We have a lot of traditions here at West, and that is actually from our past 4 principals. We had them in around homecoming. So the 4 principals that have been here, we created this little bracket of the top traditions from Normal West. And so we had them vote on it, and you can see what the winner was. Now, if you're looking through those, how many we have up there? After those 8 different traditions, which one would you say sticks out the most?
That's a tough first round matchup, but it's a great day in Westfest.
I know.
Yes.
I don't know if I agree with that. I would put that in maybe my championship.
Those were random.
Yeah. But I would agree. It's a great day to be a Wildcat. I don't think you forget that saying for sure. It's definitely better to be here than normal community for sure. So I'll definitely take that saying. I think
Best part of the podcast.
Any
right
other
there.
good memories from any of those things up there?
Senior Hearts was, that's definitely a unique one. That's cool. I remember my senior year, I think we were playing a away game Saturday night, like 7 o'clock tip-off on Lincoln, and they were state ranked. We beat them, and I just remember like half the basketball team, after the bus ride home, we just like walked into King of Hearts and just watched it for like an hour or two. It was so fun.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But King of Hearts I think is definitely a unique thing that West does. It's awesome. Just like with the... you get to know your class a lot and just like who's the comedians, who's funny. And I love the judges with the teachers is awesome too.
Yeah.
Miss Nichols is a heck of a judge too. But senior bricks are cool too. Right when we walked in today, he showed me my senior brick. So that was cool just to see the memories with your buddies painting your brick when you end your senior year is cool. So.
All
right. So last question. What would you tell your 17-year-old self some advice to give?
All right, 17-year-old self. See, I was a young one in high school. So 17, I was still going to college.
Wow.
So I might move that to 16.
Okay, so 16.
I started
How
senior
about
year,
your
16
senior?
years old. Yeah, senior year
Your
old
senior
self.
in high school self.
To keep the energy high always, no matter what they tell you, and just keep dreaming and believing. Whether that goes for basketball or a different goal, just like always believe in yourself, that you can do it deep down within you and give it your all. And those 2 things go well or don't go well, at least you can just hang your hat on that you gave your effort and everything you could to something that you believed in and dreamed in. And that's kind of how I just lived my life post high school. Just give it your all, give glory to God, and God will do the rest for sure.
right.
Good. Okay, so not a last question. It is a question.
Last question.
Last.
I love it.
Yeah. So what do the next few years look like for Kyler Stork?
I'm a free agent if any men's league team wants me.
I think State Farm is probably going to be calling.
You'll have to talk to Mr. Matthews. We play on Thursday nights.
Thursday nights, we're at here?
Yep.
All right. Just text me up.
All right.
I'll for sure get on one of your teams, definitely. But yeah, probably an insurance career somewhere. Definitely, I think it's just my strong suit of the language barriers I've always been through overseas. I can kind of fight through anything I need, and insurance, you kind of got to have that grit. And just personal relations too. I can talk to anybody, and that's one thing that I'll love forever. Just going to Europe, and you just pack your bag in a suitcase, and the rest of the season, the 8 months, is yours. And you just meet people that you never thought you'd meet, and you make connections you never thought you'd make, and it's been enjoyable. So I definitely think the next few years could definitely look something like that, whether in insurance business or business in general. I'm looking forward to it for sure. So I'm definitely happy with the chapter that unfolded after college. Definitely a unique one I didn't see coming for that long, 5 years, but definitely happy for it all for sure.
I bet.
Awesome. It was great having you on. Great catching up
thanks
with
for having me.
Kyler
Good
Stork.
to see you guys.
Yep.
And to see a little bit about what you've been doing for the last 8-9 years. So
For sure.
Thanks
Go
for coming
Wildcats.
on.
Thanks for coming on.